Hello, everyone. I'll try to make this episode a quick episode, but in this episode, I'm gonna explain creation and destruction and how God created the world. So the world itself is God, right? And you have to understand that, atheists are liars. Atheists do not tell the truth. Atheists tell you that you're not created, right? Atheists tell you this world is a world governed by random chance. First of all, you have to understand this world is not a world governed by random chance. Randomness, right, is illogical. That's why it's called randomness. But the world we live in is a logical world. A logical world is not a world governed by randomness. The laws of physics are not random. The laws that govern this world are not random. When you breathe in, you don't breathe in randomly. When you breathe out, you don't breathe out randomly. When you get hungry, you don't get hungry randomly. When you eat a food and you get full and the hunger disappears, that doesn't occur randomly. When you get angry, you don't get angry randomly. A human body does not behave randomly. There are reasons why we do what we do. And the thing that makes up our bodies are what? Cells. The thing that makes up cells are molecules. The thing that makes up molecules are atoms, right? So if the cells do not behave randomly, the cells have a purpose. They eat, they replicate, they die. Cells regulate themselves. Molecules regulate themselves. So why do you think atoms behave randomly? If the things that atoms create do not behave randomly, why do you believe atoms behave randomly? Atoms do not change. A hydrogen atom will always behave like a hydrogen atom. A water molecule will always behave like a water molecule. It will not change its behavior randomly. An oxygen atom will always behave like an oxygen atom. The whole field of chemistry teaches you how each chemical compound behaves, how each atom behaves. And the way they've been behaving hundreds of years ago are still the way they behave right now. They haven't changed, right? If they haven't changed, it proves to you that they don't behave randomly. They have a purpose and a function. That's not randomness. That's logical. The reason why we can understand this world is because this world is a logical world. Human beings cannot understand something that's illogical. Randomness is illogical. Randomness does not belong in our world because we live in a world where our minds can comprehend everything that happens around us. Since your mind can comprehend the world, it proves the world is a logical world. Human beings cannot comprehend randomness. That's why it's called randomness. It doesn't make logical sense. Things happen randomly. When things happen randomly, nothing makes logical sense. But this is in a world where things do not make logical sense. This is a logical world. Everything around you, you can study it and figure out how it works. Why? Because there's a logic to the way it behaves. There's a logic to the way everything in this world behaves. This is a logical world. And logic implies intelligence. You can't be intelligent without being logical. You just can't. Since the fact that the world itself is logical proves the world itself is intelligent. The world itself is intelligent. That's why humans are intelligent. Because the things that make up the human body is the world itself. We can't be more logical than the world because the world is us. Just like your cells cannot be more intelligent than you because at the end of the day, your cells are you. So even if your cells are more intelligent than they are still 100% you. So their intelligence implies your intelligence. Our intelligence, the intelligence of the human race, implies the world's intelligence. Because humans cannot be more intelligent than themselves. The world itself is human. The world itself is God. So how did God create the world? Out of his own body. The world itself is God. So do not be deceived by liars like atheists. You can only become an atheist when you don't understand how the world works. That is the only time you become an atheist. When you don't understand anything about the world, you become an atheist. This is a logical world. This is an intelligent world. Do not be deceived. We will not be able to comprehend a world that's not logical. Logical beings cannot comprehend something that's illogical. Since we can comprehend the world, it automatically proves we live in a logical world. And logic by itself implies intelligence. Because you can't be logical without being intelligent. You can't be intelligent without being logical. You're living inside an intelligent world. You're living inside God himself. So this is why I always say, we were born theists. They became atheists. We were born sane. They became insane. Even our greatest scientists in the world, all the greatest scientists in history, almost every single one of them believed in God. What does that tell you? It tells you the same choice. The logical choice is to believe that God exists. The logical choice is to believe that you were created. Because everything in this world must be created. The entire human race is a race of intelligent beings. And we've used our intelligence to believe that God exists. The vast majority of humans believe in a higher power. The vast majority of humans believe in a creator. Yet atheists are telling you that doing something that all intelligent beings do is the illogical choice. It is illogical to believe that this world is a world governed by God, is a world created by God. And it's logical to believe this is a world created by random chance. Don't you think there's something wrong there? If all humanity filled with intelligent people keep arriving at the same conclusion that this world is a world created by God, if the rest of the intelligent, species believe that this world is a world created by God, what do you think atheists are? They are the unintelligent ones. They are the insane ones. They tell you that it is insane to believe that God exists, and it's sane to believe that this world is a world created by random chance. It's a world governed by random chance. When the very world itself proves otherwise, human beings cannot understand something that behaves randomly. We just can't. This world does not behave randomly. This world is a logical world, a world governed by logic, a world governed by intelligence. The very world itself is intelligent. The very world itself is God. Yet you're being lied to. You're being deceived by people who can't think for themselves. People who aren't logical enough to realize that random chance does not belong in our world. Randomness does not belong in our world. Our world isn't a world of randomness. Our world is a world of purpose and function. Everything in this world has a purpose and function. Humans were created by our parents. Our parents were created by our grandparents. And it goes all the way back all the way to our ancestors. For you to exist in this world, you must be created. Humans follow the rules of the world. Creation and destruction are part of the rules of this world. For something to be created, something must be destroyed. The fact that something gets destroyed, proves that something is being created. Even the word creates has the word cree in it. And the word cree, as in cremate. The word creme itself means fire. It means flames. And what's a flame? A flame is a chemical reaction that changes the composition of the properties that it burns. Flame itself is the act of change, the act of changing from one form to another, the act of destruction and creation. When you burn something, it destroys and turns into something else. When you burn wood, you're destroying the wood and turning it into charcoal. You're turning it into heat that you feel. That's what flame is. Heat is the change of energy. Destruction turns into creation. Creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin, and they're logical sides of the same coin. When something gets destroyed, something gets created. And that's why, scientists state that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It just changes from one form to another. That's what creation and destruction is the change from one form to another. When an atom gets destroyed, it turns into energy. When a planet gets destroyed, asteroids get created. When you destroy a planet, it turns into many different asteroids. These asteroids are the things that have been created from the planet's destruction. When you destroy a house, it turns into rubble. Rubble becomes the new creation, and the house becomes the destruction. Everything in this world follows the same pattern. When something gets created, something gets destroyed. When something gets destroyed, something new is born. You were created just like your parents, just like their parents. The planets gets created. Humans got created. We always get, the whole pattern of this world is a world of creation and destruction. For something to be created, something must be destroyed. For something to be destroyed, something new must be created. The world has laws that govern them. Humans have laws that govern them. The same laws of physics that govern the human body are the same laws of physics that govern the world. The same laws of creation and destruction that governs the human body is the same laws that govern the world. The things that govern the human body governs the world. If the human body doesn't behave randomly, even though it's governed by the same rules, why do you think the world behaves randomly? The same rules that govern your body governs the world. Yet you behave logical. If you behave logically, that means the world itself also behaves logically, because the rules that govern you govern the world. Is it not? The same rules that made you logical is the same rules that govern the world around us. It means the world itself must also be logical. The world itself is one. That's why the rules that work on this side of the world works on the opposite side of the world, because it's one world, one connected piece, one being, and that being is God. Because God is intelligent, that's why the world is intelligent. So how did God create this world? God created this world like a chameleon changes its spots. That's how God created the world. Out of his own body. The world was created out of God's body. In order for God to create the world, God destroyed himself. He destroyed himself and the world was created. But for something to be created, something must be destroyed. God turned himself into a non-existent being so that the world could exist. Just like when a chameleon changes from green, when a chameleon changes its skin, its scales from green, right, to blue to blend in, it destroys the green in order to turn to blue. It destroys the color green in order to create the color blue. That's what God did. God destroyed the color green in order to create the world. That's why God always states, I create all existences because only I exist. Through God, all things exist. When all things exist through God, only God exists. The Bible tells you, through God, all things are possible. When all things can only be possible through God, then all things aren't possible, only God. The world itself is God. What you see around you is the body of God. When God created the world, he didn't create a separate being out of himself. He didn't create a world out of, separate from himself. The very world itself is God. The very world around you is God. That's why God is omnipresent. The moment you become omnipresent, you become the world itself. God is the world itself. That's why the world is intelligent, because God is intelligent. That's why the world is logical, because God is logical. The very world that you see around you is God. That's what omnipresence means. And when everything in the world is God, God is the only thing that exists. Through God, all things exist. And because God is the only thing that exists, God does not exist. So the world is like the world and God are synonymous. You may say, how can God be the world? And if God is the world, why doesn't he exist? If God is the world, why don't you see God? Because God is blending in with the environment. God is the very environment itself. When you see a tree, you don't see God because God is transformed into the tree. So you only see the tree. When you see a planet, you don't see God because God is transformed into that planet. So you only see the planet. When you see an atom, you don't see God because God is transformed into that atom. So you only see the atom. The world follows that pattern as well. Your cells are you, yet they're not you at the same time. This world is God, yet it is not God at the same time. Because God has transformed himself. He became non-existent so the world can exist. Your cells became non-existent so that you can exist. You don't see your cells. When you look at your arms, you don't see your cells. You see your arms. When you look at the world, you don't see God. You see the world. Because God is the very world around you. Your cells are you, yet they're not you at the same time. That's why when your cells die, your skin cells are always dying and reproducing, right? But every time your skin cells die, right? Every time your skin cells die, you don't die. Yet if every cell in your body is removed, you no longer exist. Because the thing that makes up you are your cells. You and your cells are synonymous. So your cells are you, yet they're not you at the same time. When you think of yourself, you don't think of your cells, do you? Yet without your cells, you don't exist. When you think of this world, you don't think of God, do you? Well, without God, this world does not exist. Because this very world itself is God. Likewise, you and earth are synonymous. Why? The thing that makes up your body are the atoms that come directly from the earth itself. You exist on planet Earth. Everything that makes up your body is planet Earth. So you and the earth are exactly the same. But yet you don't call yourself planet Earth, do you? You don't see yourself as planet Earth. Of course not. Because planet Earth is you, yet it is not you at the same time. The atoms in your body belongs to the planet. The cells in your body belongs to the planet. Everything in your body belongs to the planet. You and the earth are synonymous. You're one being, but you're not one at the same time. You can leave planet Earth, just like how your cells can be removed from your body. Yet your cells are 100% you. You can leave planet Earth, yet the thing that you're taking with you is planet Earth itself. Your very body is planet Earth itself. Yet you're not planet Earth at all. You're both the planet, yet not the planet at the same time. When you look at your hands, you don't see planet Earth, do you? Because everything is planet Earth. When everything is planet Earth, nothing is. The trees that you see around you, that's Earth. The oxygen you breathe, that's planet Earth. The ground underneath your feet, that's planet Earth. The mushrooms that you see, planet Earth. The animals that you see around you, this is Earth itself. Because the very things that make up these animals, these plants, is Earth. Are the minerals from Earth. The atoms that come directly from the earth are what makes up your body. So you're no different from the earth itself. Yet you're not the earth at the same time. You are your own separate being. That's how this world works. Everything around you is God. Yet it is not God at the same time. It is its own separate being. That's why God is omnipresent. Yet you don't see God anywhere. On planet Earth, the earth is omnipresent. Yet when you look at your hands, you don't see planet Earth. You see your hands. When you look at the atoms on Earth, you don't see planet Earth. You see the atoms. When you look at your cells, you don't see you. You see your cells. When you look at your organs in your body, you don't see you. You see your organs. Yet your organs are you. Your cells are you. And you are planet Earth itself. When you look at the world, you don't see God because God is the world itself. This is a world of illusions. God is the very world itself. And yes, the world is intelligent. If the world wasn't intelligent, you will not be intelligent. Because the thing that makes up your body is the world itself. The thing that governs your body is the world itself. Everything that you think is you is the world itself. And if you're intelligent, the world itself is intelligent. You and the world are one. The world is a logical world. That's how our minds can understand it. God is a logical God. That's why the world can be understood. You're living inside God Himself. Do not be deceived by liars. Atheists are not logical enough to realize that the very world around them is intelligent. If you're not logical enough to realize that the world itself is logical, otherwise you won't be able to understand it. You're not a very logical person. There's a reason why 90% or 99% of the human race, using their intelligence, decided that God exists. Using their intelligence, decided that this world was created. There's a reason why. Humanity, is the most intelligent race on this planet. The most intelligent race on this planet. The most intelligent species on this planet. And we're using our intelligence to realize that God exists, that we were created. Yet atheists are telling you the only logical choice, they're telling you that the only logical choice is illogical. The only sane choice is insane. That's what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to turn this world into a world of atheists, into a world of insane people. Because if the sane people, if the intelligent people on planet Earth believe in God, believe in a higher power, it proves those who don't believe in God, those who don't believe in a higher power, are insane. So the world that atheists are trying to create is an insane world. A world where they ignore the very rules of the world itself. A world where they ignore the very logic that governs the world itself. They want to live in a world where they ignore God, where everything is a world of random chance, where nothing makes logical sense. This is a world that makes logical sense, no matter how much they want to tell you it doesn't. No matter how much they want to deceive you into thinking this is a world governed by random chance. It's not. Your body works logically. Your body follows a logical pattern. Your organs follow a logical pattern. They behave logically. Your brain functions like a brain. Your heart functions like a heart and never changes. Your heart will not automatically change into your lungs and start behaving like your lungs randomly. Your skin will not, will not just randomly change and become, your heart cells and start behaving like your heart. Your skin cells will always behave like your skin cells. Your heart cells will always behave like your heart cells. Your brain cells will always behave like your brain cells. This is a world of logic. This is a world of order. Everything in this world makes logical sense because everything in this world is intelligent. God Himself is the world itself. God Himself is intelligent. So, do not be deceived by liars. Atheists are liars. Do not be deceived by insane people. It is insane to believe this world that follows logic and follows logical patterns is a world governed by randomness. It's an illogical world governed by randomness. It is insane to ignore the truth and stick with lies. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I pray for everyone's safety and understanding. Amen.